right, here we go again. Another installment of the Jawbreaker podcast. My name is Adam. This is Roman. We are associated with the Sportsmark analysts, and today we are going to do a little recap of UFC 248 that happened this past weekend, along with a little preview of this coming weekend event on ESPN Plus. So, I thought it was only appropriate that we started this podcast talking about the co-main event.
Yes.
To give respect to how great of a fight it was. It was a complete thriller. Of course, talking about the women's strawweight title fight between Weili Zhang, or Zhang Weili, whichever way you want to put it, against defending her title against Joanna Jędrzejczyk. The champ won via split decision. It was a split decision, right? Split decision. Very close fight. What'd you think of it?
It was definitely one of the best fights I've seen in female competition. I mean, it's everything that you could have asked for. They were just exchanging shots, and it was so difficult to score until the fifth round, where I thought Weili won, and I thought, okay, if she won the fifth round, I think it's pretty much safe to say she won the fight. Yeah, I mean, both of them were battered. More Joanna than Weili, but
definitely showed more in Joanna.
She looked like Frankenstein,
yeah,
but
it was nuts.
It was a very, very good fight. Definitely got your money's worth on that fight alone. Yeah, I mean, going forward, it's well, especially for Joanna. I'm not gonna say she lost anything from this fight. I mean, she came out, even though she lost, she came out as a winner, and I think she'll be back in it with maybe one more fight, and she'll be back into title contention. As far as Weili, she needs to recover, and we have a great fight coming up with Rose Namajunas and Jessica Andrade, and that'll definitely determine who's gonna fight Weili down the road.
Yeah, I think a lot of people did expect this fight to be potentially fight of the night. I mean, it's always hard to imagine a fight being this good. I mean, this is one of the more ideal scenarios in a fight you want to see as far as a fan, just as far as entertainment goes. Yeah, they I mean, both fighters just didn't have any quit in them. The heart they showed was amazing. Joanna had she was throwing probably a little more strikes, which we expected. She is more of a volume striker, and Zhang Weili is I mean, she definitely threw a great amount of strikes too. I think they broke a record for most strikes in a women's fight, I believe. And and Zhang Weili hits, we all know she hits very hard. So the fact that Joanna was, I mean, practically able to walk through a lot of those punches, I mean, it showed on her face and her forehead specifically. But yeah, that was insane. It was. I remember telling you during the fight, like, isn't this shit great? Like, we were watching the fight together, and just in between, like,
you couldn't even score the fight.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, I can't. After every round, I was saying, like, no, I don't know. I don't know what I would score. I would hate to be the judge. Like,
the fifth round was so clear. I mean, she cracked Joanna's nose. Within the first 2 minutes, they told Joanna, don't attack right away, keep your distance, and then after 2 minutes, then close in and go strike harder. I think that might have cost her the fight when her nose broke. I think she slowed down just a little bit.
Yeah, that was big. Yeah, I agree. I do think Weili got the fifth round. Although I think two judges gave her the fifth. One gave it to Joanna, right?
Yeah.
And Yeah, and it showed right there on the scorecards. It did come down to that fifth round. Um, but you know what? I mean, you can make a case. I don't know if someone told me that before that fifth round, in the first four rounds, that Joanna won three of them or Whaley won three of them, I couldn't argue it. It was so close. I mean, I think it was appropriate that because the fight seemed so close that it would have come down to a fifth round, like it did. Um, but it was yeah, it was crazy close to fight. I did want to watch it again, although I just feel like I still wouldn't really change my mind at all, really, just by the way it looks. I was really trying to like pay attention and see if one had the edge, but it was so hard to gauge at one point. Um, yeah, but definitely doesn't um, do anything wrong to Joanna's reputation. It was very close. Um, she looked good. I think she looked very much like the Joanna of old. Um, her striking was crisp. Seems like she was in great shape. They were both in great shape. Joanna's, though, specifically had seemed like no problem at all with the weight cut. She was feeling good, so it seemed like she was in a really, really good spot. Um, so I don't know. Me personally, I mean, I do kind of want to see it again. I want to see a rematch. At the same time, though, if like you're alluding to, if Rose Namajunas would beat Andrade, in a way, I would like to see that first, um, just to just to see. But the thing is, I don't know. I'm kind of split because if I think we talked about this a little last week too. If say Rose wins and she fights Whaley, and say Rose wins title, then well, I guess yeah.
Well, I think for Joanna, she has to take some time to recover. So if Rose were to win, you still have Claudia Gadelia that has a fight coming up. If she wins, she'll be up next. I think for Joanna, by the time she recovers, the next opponent she should have, it should be a main event fight, and I think it should be Tatiana Suarez in a 5-round fight. That way, we could see how Suarez's cardio would be after 3 rounds, and we'll see if she could hang with Joanna for 5 rounds. And I think that would definitely determine a clear-cut contender from there.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea either, especially just to make, let's say if, Rose would reclaim the title, or at least if Joanna would win that fight, it would give her another win to possibly give her another crack at Rose if that happened, if that were to line up right. Um, but yeah, I mean, so like I was going to say, at the same time, it is kind of nice to let a rematch build and kind of take form later rather than doing an immediate rematch. But I mean, I wouldn't be mad at an immediate rematch at all. I mean, that was an amazing fight. Um, yeah, it was a real treat. Now, um, here a little transition to the main event, which I think it was expected to be a pretty good fight as well. Um, it was, and maybe because we had just come off watching such a great fight in the co-main,
Mm-hmm.
what was not nearly as entertaining. Um, but yeah, Israel Adesanya um, defended his middleweight title against Yoel Romero, winning via unanimous decision. What'd you think of that fight?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, after the co-main event, there was so much energy, and I even said to you that this fight's going to be really, really good. I can't wait. This is going to be another great fight. And then all of a sudden, the fight starts. You have Yoel just standing there for 2 minutes, not doing anything.
It was a statue.
It was, yeah. I mean, it almost reminded me of Anderson Silva against Vitor Belfort in the first round, where they just circled around for like 3 minutes, not even doing anything, and it, and people are and people are like, there are some people blaming Israel on this, and some are blaming Yoel. I mean, it does take two to fight, but at the same time, you can't have. What I didn't like was Yoel complaining, "Oh, Israel didn't attack, didn't come to him." But if you look at his style, Adesanya is more of a counter striker, and he did everything in his power to win the fight. He landed a lot of kicks. He damaged his leg. He countered him. Yeah, Yoel tagged him in the first round. He was able to take him down in the next round. So if you were able to do those two things, you should capitalize on that and go for it. You have nothing to lose, and especially you're 42 years old. This is what is it? Your third or fourth shot at the title, fourth shot at the title. This might be your last time
Well,
fighting for the belt. So you're why blow this opportunity? And you at this point he might not see another title fight for a long time. He might need at least two or three fights, at least maybe three fights to say to show that he could get another shot. I mean, the whole fight he didn't do anything. All he did was he was just waiting for Adesanya to come to him. But you know Adesanya's not going to play that game with him, and that's where I have that issue of Romero complaining. Oh, I was waiting for him, but you know.
yeah, I do feel like Romero would have to. I mean, it seemed like I think the UFC is not too happy with him at the moment because of the way the fight went. So I get the feeling his best bet may be even just to move up to light heavyweight if
But
he
you see,
wants to.
he said he doesn't want to do that. He said
Yeah,
he's too small for that.
I
Weight class.
don't think so. If anything, he could put on a little more muscle. Why not?
I mean, if he were to fight in middleweight, maybe fight a guy like Jared Cannonier or Kelvin Gastelum.
Yeah, sure. I just don't think. I don't know. I think with his age and everything, I just feel like, and other fighters being in the mix, I feel like it would just be too long before he would get a shot. Although he says he wants to fight till he's 50, so I mean, who knows? I guess it's whatever he wants to do. But I think for a fresh opportunity, maybe moving up to light heavyweight would be good. But yeah, I had no problem at all with how uh, Adesanya fought the fight. I think he was more just surprised. He didn't expect Romero to be, basically be a statue, other than the little bit he threw, which, was kind of out of nowhere. And maybe it seems like Yoel was he was pretty much playing it safe. He was waiting for Adesanya to come to him. And when he did, he would try to basically just counter and, lay him out that way. But yeah, like you were saying, and I really think we've heard this a couple of times that when you are the challenger, you should be more responsible for bringing the fight than the champion. The champion is defending the belt, So yeah, I don't think Adesanya did anything wrong. Yoel is a very dangerous power puncher, um, so he wanted to make sure he avoided that. Um, yeah, it was up. I do believe it was up to Yoel to bring the fight more so, and try to take it. Um, but I mean, but you know what? I feel like I've heard a few people say that they think Yoel may have won the fight. They're giving Yoel the fight.
Yeah, I saw that too. A
You could
few
make an argument.
hours. Yeah, you could make an argument. I mean, after the fight was over, I said, you know, if they give it to Romero, I mean, it was that fight was really hard to score because there was not that much activity going on, so it's just makes it that much harder.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
funny. The fight beforehand was really hard because of so much activity. This one was the total opposite. It was hard to score because there was very little.
and on top of that, I thought maybe Yoel was saving his energy the first two rounds, and then in the
Yeah.
third and fourth round, he's gonna explode and try to go for it. But he didn't even do that at all.
Yeah, that's what I think everyone is thinking. That like, all right, so conserve his energy because he gets tired, and then he'll just come out guns ablazing in the
Right.
fourth, fifth round. But yeah, I mean, it was nice to see him, get a takedown, if you want to call it that, even though, he didn't advance, so it shouldn't count for anything. He basically just took him down, and Israel just popped right back up.
Well, it was also we were able to see he cracked Israel in the first round. He pretty hard.
It's
So it made,
overhand left, right?
yeah, and it made me think Paulo Costa, Israel's next fight, it's going to be that more dangerous. And I agree with Dana White when he said he's going to go. Paulo Costa is going to go after him. He's not. It's not going to be like this fight. Paulo Costa is a striker, so I think this is going to be a very good fight. It's going to present a lot of challenges for Israel to be able to see what he could do, how he could handle an aggressive fighter. Like Paulo Costa is basically a better version of Vitor Belfort in a way. Yeah. He's not a one round fighter.
No, yeah, and that's obviously that's basically like all but official that that will be the next fight for the middleweight
in July title. Possibly.
Yeah. So that fight should be what we wanted this past fight to be. It should, a whole lot of action. Yeah. Paulo Costa, he doesn't he's not one to back down and just stand around. He throws and he hits hard. So yeah, that's a very dangerous fight for Adesanya. There he'll be able to show off his skills a little more. I can't wait for that. That at least, I think it's fair to say that it's going to be a lot better than this past fight. All right. Now on to a little bit the rest of the card. Some the predictions we made. I know before we get to the predictions, I just mentioned Sean O'Malley get a nice.
Yes.
It was a great. It was a TKO.
Yeah, that kick for 2 years too.
Yeah, that was really impressive. Speaking of which, all right, so let's somewhat of a similar situation. Neil Magny beat Li Jinliang. I'm never going to get that right. Via
the Leech.
The Leech. There you go. Via unanimous decision. Yeah, how'd you think of that fight?
Yeah, that was a very, very good fight. Also, we did underestimate Neil Magny.
Yeah, I think everybody.
Again, he just went out there and proved, he's a workhorse. Great cardio. One thing I found interesting was that Jinliang was grappling with him, and I found that really weird. You're a striker. Why are you clinching with him on the fence? Why are you trying to go for the takedowns and waste your energy? You're supposed to be the striker, the aggressor, and go for the kill. So that had me a little bit surprised there. Neil Magny basically out wrestled him, outclassed him, and showed he's still in it. And he called out Mike Chiesa for his next fight. And I think that would be a good fight for him. Some people are saying that's a step down for Chiesa, but I think it will definitely determine where Chiesa stands in that division. Magny's no joke. There are some fights where he gets outclassed, but he comes in to fight, and definitely will be a good fight with him and Chiesa. I definitely would like to see that.
Yeah, especially after he hasn't been there for a year, year and a half ish, something like that. For him to look that dominant, and I don't think he's ever looked quite that good before.
And it wasn't because of an injury he was out. I think it was I saw it was because of a substance he tested for. That's why he was out. I was wondering what.
Oh, is that what?
Yeah, I was wondering too, and then I saw it was some substance that he took by accident. So.
Yeah, that was that was super impressive. Yeah, I think a fight between him and Chiesa would would be fine. It would Chiesa has. You could big case he's fought some bigger names lately. But as far as the way it's looking right now at welterweight, it wouldn't be the worst matchup. I agree. All right, on to our next fight. Beneil Dariush defeated Jakar Klaus. by a awesome knockout in the second round. Um, yeah, what did you think of that? That was pretty crazy.
Yeah, he showed really good power in there. I mean, it goes to show that these fighters do learn under Master Cordero's teachings. I mean, yeah, I did not see that. I thought it was going to be a submission. I thought he was going to just grind him out and take him
Yeah, and he
down.
had his back
Yeah,
too.
he had his back in the first round. He
A
controlled
nice
the
body
first round.
triangle on him. Yeah.
And I think that worked to his advantage. I think he was able to take some energy out. So by the second round, it almost seemed like Close was in some kind of panic. I have to make sure I'll be able to not let him grapple me and try to I'll strike him. And out of nowhere, Benil was able to land that nice shot right on the button and put him out. I think this definitely rises his stock, and he'll definitely have a good matchup in his next fight. The question is who's going to be available for him.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely gives him a nice step up, especially after just such a great knockout. Um, yeah, great reaction by the commentary too. That was like one of the
Yeah,
best reactions ever. That would be like that would go down in like history as one of the best collective for the three of them. Um, yeah, that was awesome. Um, all right, so yeah, that's pretty much it for this past weekend. Um, Still overall good, really good card. Despite the main event being lackluster. Um, so moving on to this weekend, there's a UFC fight on ESPN Plus. Um, we'll just do a couple predictions of that preview. We'll start with the co-main event. It's it's in the I'm sorry, this is welterweight division. Yeah, oh, yeah, duh. Gilbert Burns facing off against Damian Maia. How do you see that going?
yeah, I really like this fight. Damian Maya, not when he loses a fight, or he could have like a losing streak. Somehow he always finds a way to go back on another crazy streak. Right now he's on a 3-fight win streak. And prior
Agreed.
to that, he was on 3-fight losing streak. He lost to Woodley in a title fight, lost to Covington, and then he lost to Usman.
Big names. Yeah,
Yeah, big
he
names,
lost the big
title
names.
challenger. Yeah, I mean, he lost against a title challenger, lost for the title, and he lost against a future champion. I mean, that goes to show. And prior to that 3-fight losing streak, he was on a 7-fight win streak, which is crazy when you look at it. And, he has 28 wins, and out of those 28 wins, he has 14 submissions. In his last fight, he fought Ben Askren, which was a really good grappling fight, a lot of great exchanges on the ground, and he beat him by rear naked choke. I think that's probably one of his biggest wins
Yeah.
right now. And then you have Gilbert Burns. He's 10-3 in the UFC. He's on the 4-fight win streak, and he's coming off of a win against Gunnar Nelson. He's not a slouch. He's a great fighter in the welterweight division. And Gilbert Burns, he has that good power. He did fight at 155, but he had some weight issues. Now he's going up to welterweight, and he's in that division. He does have good power, but I see Maya wrestling Burns. He's going to try to tire him out, trying to grind him out, trying to do submission attempts. Um, it's a hard fight to pick in some way because you have power versus grappling. But I do think with Maya's experience, he knows how to avoid the danger. So I think he's going to take him down, and I think he's going to submit him. Second round, I think he's going to get him in a rear naked choke.
Okay. Yeah, it's very possible. I mean, Damian Maia is so dangerous. On the ground, his grappling is one of the best, if not could possibly be the best jiu-jitsu in the UFC. Um, now Burns, I mean, both these guys are very good jiu-jitsu guys. Burns does have also have power in his hands, his strikes. Yeah, it is a very tough pick. It's kind of a it's almost kind of a toss up to me. I can see it going like you said. I think if Maya, particularly if he's able to get an early takedown or have some control on the ground earlier in the fight, um, then he would potentially finish it with a submission. Um, but I do feel like I almost feel like if it did go to a decision, I feel like it's more likely Burns could pull it off. So with all that, it's really tough to call. But you know what? I'm gonna go with Gilbert Burns. I think he he'll do just enough to be very he's good enough as a jiu-jitsu. He'll maybe use his striking. He could even finish it if he catches a good shot. But I think Gilbert Burns is gonna get an decision. Really good fight though. It's a really good matchup. It's almost an underrated matchup, especially for a co-main on a fight night. All right, and now it brings us to the main event. It's a lightweight main event fight, headlined by Kevin Lee against Charles Oliveira. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, it's another good fight. Definitely, it's gonna show who's gonna be moving up the ladder in this stacked lightweight division. I think a win for one of these guys is gonna boost their stock up and be that much closer for a title shot in the future. You have Kevin Lee, who's coming off of a crazy knockout out of Gregor Gillespie. A lot of people thought Gillespie was gonna out wrestle Kevin Lee and beat him easily. Kevin Lee does have power. He did fight Tony Ferguson prior for the interim title, and I thought he was winning that fight until he got caught with that submission. The first 2 rounds, he was able to take down Tony Ferguson and control him on the ground, but he just got caught. And I know he had a staph infection in that fight. It was so his cardio wasn't that great. Then you have Charles Oliveira. He's on a 6-fight win streak.
Yeah, it's nuts. I didn't even realize that until
Yeah.
I looked it up. I'm like, oh my god, that's crazy. Yeah.
And here's a crazy statistic of this 6-fight win streak. None of them went to a decision. 4 by submission, 2 by TKO.
He's killing it.
Yeah, and he has 28 wins overall, and 18 of them are by submission. Both of these guys like going for the rear naked choke, especially Oliveira. He's a master of the submission game. In this fight, it's going to show who's going to have a lot of cardio. Both of these guys, cardio is the question. So it's going to come down to will. Who's going to have that will to, pull it off? And I think Kevin Lee has better power than Oliveira, and I think that's going to help him. So I'm going to say Kevin Lee. I was going back and forth with second or third round, but I'm going to say Kevin Lee in third round knockout. He's going to win by knockout.
Okay. Yeah. I would think, if Kevin Lee, wanted to use his wrestling with Oliveira, obviously Oliveira is very dangerous off his back. Like you said, coming off that crazy win streak, he's although he hasn't really fought top tier guys, you could say, but still, I mean, impressive nonetheless. I do think, like you said, Kevin Lee has definitely got some good power, and he's been training at TriStar, right?
Yes.
Faraz, that's still going on. I think ever since that, I think he's almost like reinventing himself. I mean, it's just like, one of the best places you could be, especially if you want to, have like a little revival. And, for a guy like him whose cardio maybe was an issue, I'm sure, he's putting in some hard work over there. And, hopefully that it'll make his weight cut go smoothly as well. I kind of agree, though. I think what Kevin Lee needs to do is well, first let me say this. I think Oliveira's best shot at winning would be catching him in a submission, um, which is very possible, especially if Kevin Lee wants to wrestle. But I think Kevin Lee and his coaching is smart enough to know that if he got Oliveira down to the mat, I think he'd be very good at kind of smothering him and using his weight. I mean, on fight night especially, he could potentially be a lot bigger than Oliveira. I mean, you have a guy
90
in
at least.
Oliveira. Yeah, Oliveira he fought at featherweight, and Lee's fought at welterweight. So I mean, you got these guys coming to the middle to lightweight. So yeah, he's going to have some weight on him. So I think you can use that weight on him and spread out to make sure Oliveira doesn't isn't able to get a submission in. So I'm going to go. I'm going to go Kevin Lee. I'm going to go second round TKO.
Okay.
All right. All right. All right. So yeah, that's all we got. Hope everybody enjoyed. We'll see you guys next time.